morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here today, moderating this space in the second and last day of BRaK 2024, a project organized by the International Alliance of Independent Publishers. I'm Germán Baquiola. I'm a publisher. I'm Argentinian, but I've been working for over 10 years in Ecuador, in South America. Together with Francisco Muñoz, we are the coordinators of the Red Age, that is the International Network of Independent Publishers. Today, we are going to talk in a more informative way in this round table about an essential topic in the book ecosystem, and these are book fairs and festivals around the world. We have 5 wonderful speakers today with us. Ibrahima Aya from Mali is a publisher from Tombouctou Editions. We also have with us Camila Perlingeiro, and she is representing LIBRE, an independent book fair in Brazil. Also with us, František, Malik from Slovakia, Dejan, Trajkoski. You can then correct the pronunciation of your names later. So Dejan from North Macedonia and Renée-Laure Zou from Martinique. For starters, as I've said before, it's an informative space more than to debate, so that we share together from different parts of the world the different projects that are held in Mali, in Brazil, in Slovakia, in North Macedonia and Martinique, different projects connected to the democratization for book access and also to give value to the value chain to the books, that is, regarding book fairs and festivals. The book fair started around the 15th century, so they have existed for many years, even centuries for now. They started in Frankfurt, and then we had different concepts of book fairs. We're going to talk how we organize a book fair, which are the motivations to organize either a book fair or festival, where did this idea arise from, and which are the challenges and objectives that these book fairs have in all the whole geographies. I would like each one of the speakers to introduce themselves, tell us where they are from, whether they are publishers, cultural managers, the name of their projects, and where their project is based, and also how long they have been working in the festival, the amount of editions that their book fair or festival has had. Maybe I can call out your names. So I see you on the screen. Camila, welcome. Could you please tell us a bit about you and about your project?
Hello all. My name is Camila Perlingeiro, and thank you first for Alliance for inviting me, for inviting us, LIBRE, to speak today. I'm a publisher. I've been a publisher for over 25 years. I run 2 publishing business actually. One is Pinacothek, which is an art gallery, also a publishing business that belongs to my family. And I have an independent imprint called Mapalab, and it's new actually. We've been doing this thing about thinking the book beyond the book for the past 5 years. So thank you again. I am the founder of LIBRE, which is Liga Brasileira de Editoras, and actually Primavera dos Livros, which is the festival I'm going to be talking about today, came a year before the association, and it actually became the reason that we decided to get together formally, because Primavera dos Livros was a huge success that first year. And I've been in the industry for over 26 years. And Primavera dos Livros was born in 2001. So we've been, we've been doing festivals in different countries, in different states in Brazil. Like we started in Rio, and it's our 23rd edition this year. But we already worked in Bahia and São Paulo and Minas Gerais. And as you know, Brazil is a huge country with over 200 million people. But Rio, it's the state that actually houses Primavera dos Livros in its essence. We started because we started in 2001. So like, let's picture 23 years ago. We didn't have social media. It was very hard to have your own website, your own e-commerce. It was even harder to be seen in the big festivals. We have Bienal do Livro in both Rio and São Paulo, which are the largest book fairs, I want to say, Latin America. And so it was very hard to be seen in such a huge space when we were so small, and we were all scattered everywhere. So we decided to get together in both Rio and São Paulo, and there were 50 of us when we started. And so then we decided we came up with this idea of doing a small festival only for independent publishing, although we didn't even have the independent publishing term at that time. We were like small publishing business. And later it came terms like indie publishing and bibliodiversity. And those are things that came as we went along. So yeah, I don't know if I'm getting ahead of myself, but this is the gist of it. This is how we started. We started because we were scattered. We were too small individually, and we decided that we would be stronger if we stick together. And Primavera dos Livros was the start of it.
Perfecto. Muchas gracias,
Great.
Camila.
Thank you very much, Camila. Then we're going to go back to you with other questions. I would like to give the floor to Dejan.
From North Macedonia. Dejan, por favor, si te puedes presentar a ti mismo.
If you could please briefly introduce yourself and also talk about your project Prosa-Balkan. Welcome, Dejan.
Thank you. Great being here with such amazing publishers. Thanks to the International Alliance of the Independent Publishers for organizing all this. In short, I'm Dejan Trajkoski. I'm the founder of and organizer of the International Literature Festival Prosa-Balkan, of the Skopje Fellowship Program, and I'm the owner and editor of the publishing house Prozart Media. So if I have to say in short what are we doing here in this little corner of the earth surrounded by the UA and non-EU members, I would say that in these circumstances, in 2013, we faced the reality in publishing that our countries, not just North Macedonia, then Macedonia, but also the majority of the countries in the region, nevertheless, if they were already part of the European Union or not, had the literature scene on a very, very extremely low level. For example, I organized book promotion with one famous author from Serbia, David Albahari. I hope you've heard about him. That was the only, in 2011, book promotion with a, let's say, a name of that rank from abroad. So that tells itself on what terms the reality in not just in my, but also in surrounding countries were. So we decided to change that, and that's why I founded the festival, which was the first serious prose festival in my country. We have one of the best worldwide known poetry festivals, the Struga Poetry Festival, which take place, I think, back in '63 or something, but it's exclusively dedicated to poets. And I hope that the festival played a significant part of let's say, bringing that field on another level, on a better level. So now I can say that we have more festivals, serious ones, good ones, in Skopje, and that the situation is drastically changed. So in short, also, I saw the opportunity the very next year to establish the Skopje Fellowship Program. And we were back then the first fellowship program in all of Southeast Europe, excluding Turkey, of course. ITEF already had the ITEF Fellowship Program running for several years. And we stayed the only fellowship program in all of Southeast Europe for a whole 9 years until 22, when Thessaloniki Fellowship Program started in Thessaloniki, and other fellowship programs started being organized in this part of the world, in Southeast Europe, in the Balkan countries. So is this enough for a start, or should I also tell something about the publishing house?
If you like,
Save it for
Dejan, to
later.
tell something about your publishing house, it's okay.
Sorry?
Si quieres hablarnos de tu editorial para presentarla, está muy
If
bien.
you'd like to talk a bit about your publishing house, of course, go ahead, just to introduce it.
Yeah. So publishing house Prozart Media was founded in 2015. Previously, I worked as an editor from 2007, so it wasn't a new field for me. And Prozart Media is now the organizer of both the fellowship program and the literature festival. We publish around 20 to 30 books per year, which makes us, in this country and surroundings, a mid-sized publisher that publishes mainly literary fiction and also picture books. Thank you.
Muy bien. Gracias, Dejan.
Thank you, Dejan. I would like to give the floor now to František from Slovakia.
František.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for the invitation of International Alliance of Independent Publishers. It's a great honor to be here. I was like a bit smiling when Dejan was talking, because we have the same dates, kind of starting the festival and also the publishing house, and also kind of similar focus. So don't be surprised. I'm coming from Slovakia, just shortly where the Slovakia is, because this is like really international festival. So I don't consider there's no need for everyone to know where it is. So don't be ashamed. We are a small country bordering with Ukraine, Poland, the Czech Republic, and Hungary. So really in the center of Europe. Just briefly, the numbers, or how the market maybe looks like here. There's the annual turnover of this huge market or small market is 150 million euros. The number of publishing houses 1,500. Number of books printed is 10 millions in a year, and so just and the average book price is 15 euros compared to average wage, which is 1,500 euros. Just this quick economic objectives. We started the festival, BRaK Festival, which I'm the founder, in 2013, as I said, 2013, and we just and still we are focusing on small and middle-sized publishing houses, because we think that this is the progressive engine of this book industry, in quotation industry, because these publishing houses are choosing the important and interesting topics. They're doing their books with hearts and with crafty, very in comparison to like huge publishing companies, and they didn't have the representation in book shops, in huge big shops, or even the one of the book fair, which is not book fair, but it's happening one year before Christmas. So we decided to call festival. I used to work with in this field before, so we decided and started in the small, with a couple of publishing houses, small publishing houses, and right now, after 11 years, we can say that we are probably the biggest book festival in this small country, which contains all sorts of program, but as probably it's the same everywhere in the world. So there's like these author readings, of course, but there's a lot of music and theaters. We have every time, or trying to have something like one of the main topic, let's say, but of course it's a multi-topic event, or there's plenty of teams, but we have one like main, let's say, which is imprinted in a visual every year and in a couple of events. So we have also actually a couple of years before, we have a bibliodiversity as well, which is this festival about as well. But for example, last year or this year, we have something like literature and classes, let's say. We started also the publishing house, which is after 2 years of the festival, so also 2015, publishing fiction, prose, poetry, picture book as well, and graphic novels, you can say. So yeah, that's me in the beginning. If there's any questions, maybe later on I can, of course, answer, but thank you.
Gracias, František. Muy bien.
Thank you. Now we're going to continue with Ibrahima from Mali.
Are you there, Ibrahima?
Oui, merci. Est-ce que vous m'entendez?
Yes, thank you. Can you hear me properly? Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much. Thank you to all the people listening to us today. Thank you also truly to the Alliance of Independent Publishers, the International Alliance, of independent publishers for this wonderful initiative, sharing authors and publishers that don't always have this visibility. So this is a really good initiative. Thank you very much. Now, to introduce myself, I can tell you that I'm from Mali. So Mali, as you know, is in Western Africa. So this is a country that is at the heart of Africa, inland. And I was born there, and I've always been living and working in Mali. This is a country that has a very important oral traditions, as you may be aware of. But this is also a country that has a written tradition. And this is something that has to do with the colonial powers. So just to remind you of this tradition, I can mention the city of Tombouctou. So Tombouctou already was very important intellectual center, and still today it's known as a city of manuscripts, of writing, and I do agree with this fact. So I will share with you what our event is about. It's the Rentrée littéraire du Mali. It was created in 2018, and it happens every year in February. And we host a number of talks and receive a number of guests there. We decided to create this event because we saw that not a lot of not enough books were being published in our country. And the idea was to create a space from which we are able to have a vision of the world and to share a vision of the world from an African standpoint. So this is really what our event, the Rentrée littéraire, is about. And the motto of the event actually says it all. It says, when Africa tells itself to the world and to herself. So this event has been progressing steadily. It's now well known. And it is an initiative that creates a space to share ways of imagining the world and also new ways of forming a society. The goal is to also strengthen all the players that take part in the events. So the idea is to see how we can structure the book industry in Africa through the promotion of authors and publishing houses. So the idea is to make sure that Bamako, which is the city hosting this event, shares this moment of celebration of literature, of creation, and of African intellectual life. We do believe that we're headed in the right direction because for a number of years we've been having around 100 of writers from Mali, around 40 writers from all over the world, and we are able to organize a number of events around the main event. So like more than 100 side events will happen that will be totally free. It could be debates, roundtables, theater shows, debates, or writing workshops. We also try to pay homage to great figures of the African literature and of world literature every year. So the event happens in Bamako, but it also happens in other cities of the country at the same time through these side events I just mentioned. For instance, we worked in Sikasso in the south, in Mopti in the center of Mali, in Tombouctou, which I already mentioned because this is the city of writing in Mali, but also in Gao, in Lotobu, in the north of Mali. In all of these cities, we do the same. We try to have many events in all of the city, in the libraries, in the universities, in the schools, and in other places. In Bamako, for example, every day we work with 40 secondary schools, 10 universities, 10 cultural centers, and we receive some 40,000 young people every year. In this context, we really target young people. We are a very young country, but we need to foster a certain open-mindedness in the country. So we want to make sure that the youth is able to be in contact with everything that is being created and imagined in our world, to have these bridges being built towards the rest of the world that young people can walk on. We want to be open to the rest of the world, and we also think that Africa has a voice to share to the rest of the world. So we invite these writers from Africa, but also from all over the world to debate and to do a number of events. So that's what our festival is about. Next February 2025, it will take place from February the 18th to February the 22nd of 2025. And the great topic of this edition will be Africa and African youth. So we will make sure that everyone is able to speak on this topic, to debate on this topic, and to come to Africa. We're in a world that is open and globalized, and we want to share experiences of others. So the idea of our rentrée littéraire of Mali is to make sure that we can invite different social leaders. So the idea is to create a network of cultural events and social events. So we already have a number of literature events in Africa, parts of this network. It's about French and English speakers, but not only, we also have Portuguese speakers, and we think we should go beyond the borders and beyond the languages, make sure that we have a wider view on African literature. We would like the works to go through the whole continent. So the goal is to make sure that we foster the circulation of the books. So that's one of the initiatives we have. And I do believe that for us, this is part of also fostering independent publishing and putting it under the limelight, because we think that it's important, and we mostly receive independent publishers and their books. So that's it. We believe that these spaces are necessary, are vital, because if we want to defend bibliodiversity, then we need to defend diversity of thinking. And this has to do with our ability to share our different voices from everywhere in the world. So that's our event. The event at the start was created by the Tombouctou publishing house, created in 2008, and then we created an association that now is at the head of this event. That's it for me. Thank you.
Beaucoup, Ibrahima. Thank you very much. Gracias, Ibrahima. Ahora, desde el otro lado del Atlántico, desde
Thank you,
Martinica,
thank you. And now from the other side of the Atlantic, we have people from Martinique. They are representing the festival for young people. Renée, you have the floor.
Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to be with you today, and thank you very much for all your work and effort. My name is Renée-Laure Zou. I am based in Martinique. For those who don't know, Martinique is an island of 1,100 square kilometers in the Caribbean archipelago. It's a very, very small territory. It's a territory that's depending on France, so it's the overseas French territory. In 2021, we were still we were still suffering because of the pandemic. Can everyone hear me properly? So in 2021, I wanted to create a festival for the children books of Martinique. This initiative was strongly supported by the Ministry of Culture in France. Because in Martinique, we have a very few events around the book, and even less when we talk about children book. So in 2021, this first festival was the sort of the pilot event. And it was really hard because in 2021 we had the pandemic and we were facing a lot of uncertainty. We were not sure if it would be a success or not. And it worked. And since 2021, we have an association called the Association ABEX that is in charge of children's book mainly. So the ABE Association is in charge of the organization of this festival. And personally, I am a member of the ABE, and I am part of the steering committee to organize this festival. This festival gained ground progressively, and the idea is to offer a multi-dimensional event. We wanted to turn to all the stakeholders of the book chain. And we have our very few publishers. We have a lot of writers that are self-published. And everybody, it's not easy. It's not an easy market. The festival respects the book chain, meaning that you need to be a writer, publish in one of the publishing houses, taking part of the festival to be there. So the idea is to support, to support them, to give visibility, to increase the visibility for local productions in terms of our children books. We have a lot of books coming from abroad, France, but also other countries. And the local publishers are really struggling to put the local writers on under the spotlight. So this year we organized the festival, and I'd say that we managed to increase the scale this year. We managed to attract more people to this festival. And it brought a different dynamic this year. So it was very interesting. So we have several main events during the festival. So at the beginning, during the opening or closing, and it's happening in July during this national important national time, and so we have this event at that time of the year. And this year we're focusing on sports, for example. So during the festival, we have main events with theater, music, concerts, readings, interviews, conferences, a very, very wide array of events for families and for children. And well, during the period of the festival, so during 10 to 15 days, in the libraries, there will be many encounters with the writers organized, whether being in libraries or schools and so on. And it really depends on, the libraries that we have as partners. This year we had roughly 10 partners. There's also, just before the festival, a professional day. So the idea is to gather all the stakeholders of the book world. It can be the publishers, the booksellers, the librarians, and so on. So we spend the day together on one topic. And this year it was about children book on local production. In 2023, we really wondered if Martinique needed a festival on children book, and the answer was yes. In terms of financial means, the festival is strongly supported by the Cultural Affairs Ministry, well, the Ministry of Culture. And we also have other partners that are funding us and supporting us to host the event. So but well, we would still need to increase our resources. It's a small festival that is slowly growing, and well, we are very hopeful. We hope that we will be well in the capacity to welcome people from all over the world, and also well give visibility to local production and also to open to children and families. In terms of challenges, we'll still need to convince the stakeholders of the local production chain. It's a lot of negotiations and convincing and work of trying to convince. We have to insist to invite them, but well, I imagine that year after year, our thing will grow and gain in strength for our territory. And I hope that more and more publishers will join this festival. That's all I can say so far. And of course, if you have questions, I'll be there to answer them.
Como vimos, la mayoría de festivales o
As we
ferias
saw, most of the festivals or meetings work with books in a double condition. Books are a cultural object, but it is also an economic good. In this sense, every festival is a space for trade. It is a trade space. It is a space for education, culture, and it is also a space where citizenships see new rights. I would like to share a question with you, a rather wide question. Some people have already answered this, and some of you have said other things. So I would like to ask the following. Let's talk about excitement, because we might know that in a cultural atmosphere, we might have colleagues, friends that will be supporting of us, but how can we maintain this throughout the time? How can we maintain the excitement? I would like to ask those of you who haven't talked about it, and you can have a couple of minutes, I would like to see how the excitement levels are, and have you raised more excitement? Have you brought all the funding, financing resources, new publics? That would be one of the first questions. And another branch for the question is the following one. Do your projects have a methodology to collect data regarding public or participants? How have you collected data regarding the effects? Do you have a methodology? Do you have any statistics? And the third question within the full question is, what are the synergies between universities and cultural rights in the territories where you work? As I said, some of you have already answered to the question, and you may feel free to answer to whatever side or part of the question you prefer. And I will give the floor to Camila.
Okay, it's many questions within a question, so let's brace it. About funding, when we started, we were fully supported by the municipality in Rio. So this is how we started. Funding has been, but over 20 years, this has changed drastically in some ways. So we always had some sort of support from the municipality in Rio, and sometimes we do have support from the private sector as well. And we even had a few years of funding from it's from like the federal government. We fail drastically in using incentives that are sometimes granted or for people who makes festivals. Like, we usually don't do this very well. It's something that we're trying to do better, to take more grants, to work like this. I think we relied on public funding for a long time. And when we started 20 years ago, we were very innovative, because nobody was doing something like this, especially in we didn't even have independent publishers as a term. So we were just like a bunch of young kids who didn't know better. In the end, we were in our 20s when we started. And so we relied a lot of public funding. And right now we're struggling, actually, because in 20 years, a lot of people copied, copied, not in a bad word, but like went along with us and did their own festivals. So in Brazil nowadays, we have a lot of things going on all over the country, and there's only so much funding people are willing to give. So we're not new anymore, we're not fresh. And I think this is where we're struggling the most nowadays. We actually decided as, the board of directors, which I'm part of, we have decided to take like a couple of steps back. We have to do a complete rebranding, complete remodeling, complete everything, including the way the way that we seek funding, because we are struggling hard. We have been for the past, I want to say 5 years. And like even before the pandemic was hard, but now it's even harder. So this is what we are dealing with this year. We need to think collectively. We think to bring new ideas. We need to think creatively, because we've been doing the same thing for way too long. And I think we got comfortable in the way we did things, because usually in a weekend we get 30 to 40,000 people visiting us, which seems like a lot of people, especially for my friends here who live in smaller countries. So it seems like it's a lot of people, but it's really is not, So I think, but I know all of you will commiserate with me when we say that we struggle with funding, and we struggle to curate the program in time and to promote it appropriately. Everything is changing. Like when we started, we didn't have social media. We barely had internet. Well, not internet, but that was doing a lot of promoting things in a gist. Everything is much more automatic now. So it's easier in a way, and at the same time harder, because I think we don't have the attention anymore for anything really. So I think like we had, and it is very fresh in my mind because this meeting just happened last week. So we decided to take two steps back and remodel the whole thing. And actually, I think because all of us, we have such little time on our hands, because this is not who we are. This is not our main job. We do have business that we have to attend, and they are usually small businesses that we don't have the structure, and that we are very much needed in a day-to-day basis. So also it's a limited time we all have to dedicate to these festivals that we do every year, sometimes more than once. And as I said, and as I said before, we live in such a huge country, so we have to think about that too, because we are the size of a continent, actually. So this also matters, because usually we don't get to stray far from Rio or São Paulo, and like we just stay there. And this is also something that we need to address as an association, and like we started as 50 people, as 50 small publishers, and now we are close to 200. So those needs also need to be addressed as well. So yeah, so right now we are very enthusiastic. Herman was trying to measure our level of enthusiasm. And the thing is, Primavera dos Livros, it's one of the things that we think about on our day-to-day basis, but we are also bigger than that nowadays. It's a lot of politics involved. And we talk we especially the people on the board, we do talk about it every day. We have weekly meetings to talk about everything we're doing. We share homework, so we have to do things on our own, and then we share everything we do with our with the publishers that are with us. and it's 200 people on a WhatsApp group. Sometimes it's a lot, but it's also keep us always on our toes. Also not in a bad thing, but also always keep thinking about it, you know. So yes, we are very enthusiastic, and like personally, like just me, I mean, I found this, so it has a special place in my heart. It was 26 when we started this. I'm 51 today, so it's been a long time doing this. So it's actually part of me. It's part of the things that projected my personal career. So the fact that we're struggling is hard, but also expected, because we can't always be on top of things. So I think when it starts to get rough, it's when I get more enthusiastic about fighting more and harder. And your last question, like the people who come to our fairs, it's usually 30 to 50,000 people in 3 days. We have one day, which is a Thursday usually. It's usually like from a Thursday to a Sunday. And on a Thursday, we do a day only for the publishers. So we try to come up with the programming that, much like Babelica, something that will benefit, you know, publishers and editors everywhere. Something that it's not just for our group, is something that it's open for everyone. And that's a very exciting day for us, because we get to, I mean, because we bring people from outside, but we also get to present things that we've been individually doing. And this is also exciting. But the people that come, we do have an extensive programming. We have lots of children. We have a very strong children's space, because we do have a lot of publishers that are dedicated to only children's books. We also talk about politics and literature and diversity, bibliodiversity. We're still struggling, but we try very hard to make people from outside of our industry to understand the struggles of our industry. You know, like all the rivalries, all the things that keep going on, like bookstores and publishers, and how we all need to come together, but sometimes we don't. Sometimes it is a war. And I think it's to be expected that we will never, you know, agree on everything, because, you know, that's capitalism for you. But I think we do need to stick together. But I mean, I remember when I was young, and like a very large publisher, you know, it was 2000. Like he told me, "Why do you exist?" And I was like, "What do you mean? Why do I exist?" We can't, you know, it's in a country this size, we cannot have just 10 big publishers and we forget the rest of the world. We're not one big industry of mega sellers. We need diversity. And I think this is what moved me, you know, as a young woman to fight for the right to exist, you know, first and foremost, but also to make the industry understand that it was beneficial for us all, that we have a huge industry, that we have a huge diversity of publishers of all different shapes and sizes, and that niche didn't mean, you know, that, you know, the publishers that are small and they work within a niche didn't mean that we were insolvent and profitable and we didn't have our own community, you know. So I think in the past 20 years, this is what we did. And we do have a very strong political base nowadays. Like we changed a lot of things, especially like in the past 20 years. We did a huge change for us is when we started selling books to the government, which is something that we weren't allowed to do because our contracts didn't allow us to be part of it. So this was a massive win for all of us. It's much more diverse now. And it's what keeps a lot of us afloat. And this is a direct impact of Primavera dos Livros in the industry, you know, and it's actually, I mean, the politics we do, it's something that it only works within the industry. But Primavera dos Livros is how we show ourselves to the world. You know, we started as a festival that wanted to show readers that we existed, that even though our books weren't always in the bookstores or the press, because again, we didn't have social media, we didn't have websites, everything was very expensive and hard. So it was a way for us to show ourselves, to the world and say, look, here we exist, like, do you want to see my book? This book is about this. And so all the concept of Primavera dos Livros was based on the fact that we wanted to be the ones behind the booths, talking to the readers, not an employee, not like it was us, all of us. We wanted to be there for them. And I think this is how, and we see today, like 20 years later, how much a lot of us grew as a company because we started like this. And I think this is the lesson that I think we learned.
Muy bien.
And I think this is also shows the synergy we have with bibliodiversity, because we are a lot, actually.
Muchas gracias, Camila.
Thank you.
Feliz Día de la Bibliodiversidad.
Thank
para ti.
you, Camila. Happy Bibliodiversity Day for you. Everything that you are telling us give us hope. I love your earrings, by the way. Dear colleague from Macedonia, Dejan, can you tell me a bit more about the challenges, the synergies, and how do you feel like you will be able to grow and maintain the festival? Dejan.
Thank you, Germán. I'm looking forward to hear from my Slovakian colleague if I'm gonna say again the same things that he's gonna say. I believe that we both are coming from the post-communist reality. So yeah, pretty much. Even I think the size of the country and the population is more or less similar. So challenges. Well, most of the festival are challenges in countries like ours, of course. First and foremost, of course, the financing. Actually, other than financing, I don't think that we have much challenges, actually, because in a way we are used to work in this kind of environment. We often in jokes say that if we are in I don't know, let's say Nordic country, right? Maybe we wouldn't know how to exist because of all those normality. Of course, we say this in a joke. Funding is hard to achieve it. Main funding is coming from the Ministry of Culture, as it is the case in almost all the ex-Yugoslavian countries, and I think some of the surroundings. That's the way it is. It was being done in the socialism and now in democracy. But the budgets are very low. So from the second year until the 11th year, with exception of the unfortunate Corona year, we had more or less the same budget from the Ministry of Culture. And in that span of 10 years, of course, price doubled and everything. This year we have a slightly bigger budget, but of course it's not enough. We are supported by the fund Trajkoski. That's a very active fund that supports translation and also festivals in Balkan area and in Germany. It's a German fund. There are traditional partners. Also, fellowship program. This, the next, and the previous year was supported by various Creative Europe projects with where I'm involved. So what I'm glad to say is that we are especially proud that we organized the festival more or less with the same crew, with the same team. All these years, of course, they are the top professionals in their field, all of them, from the PR to the photographer, from the logistic persons, etc. And I'm glad, I'm proud, to say that we work in a family-like atmosphere without any tensions or gossips. And all of that we are doing with really low finances for all of them. So it's hard, yes, but after every festival has ended, most of the people don't want to go in their homes, in their countries. So that's a compliment enough for us and something to look forward for the next edition. In short, I think that would be more or less about the fundings. What else was
No,
part of the
maybe about
question?
the evolution of the festival. If you notice that more people is attending the festival, more audience, for example.
Yeah. Well, regarding the audience, we have the situation in my country is very complicated because the capital, Skopje, has around 700,000 inhabitants. Of those 700,000 inhabitants, around 25% are Albanians. And that means that they do not attend very rarely events in Macedonia. Unfortunately, we are trying to do something, but that's just reality. That's something that we should work, of course. So the attendance is more or less the same. We are happy with around 100 people per night. So I'm talking about the main event. And that's like the top of the game in my country. So I don't think that there was any literary event that was that had more public than that. So that's like the highest number. Except I don't know, 1, 2, of course, hyper known and writers, but now we are talking about the attendance to the events that have a literary quality. I hope I'm clear about that. I know that you understand me. So also as Camila said previously, this is not what we do for a living. I mean, but I think that majority of the festival organizers even lose money while doing all this. Thumbs up, of course, yes. And that's just the simple reality. I mean, even if I'm not losing money with the time I'm spending and not earning, that's losing money. And I think that we are all kind of not very serious people. You know, we do extremely serious things, extremely serious stuff. We believe strongly in some sort of idealistic futures or realities. Not, we are not stupid, but we believe. And we're doing all that. Maybe, I don't know. I'm still not sure. Even I'm 47, I'm still not sure. Maybe we do it in our own damage. I'm still not sure. But at the end of the day, I mean, we are all doing it and we are enjoying it. In that, I think that probably even we became a better persons while dealing with this wonderful and sad reality of ours. So yeah, on the other hand, the indirect feedback is priceless. I mean, so we're not just on a loss here. Indirectly, of course, we have a big gain. So regarding the public, yes, I think that you know, in percentage, if you see it in percentage, we have like a town of 400,000 possible people who will attend, and in percentage, I think that 100 something is the same percentage that would have come from another city with 2 millions, or yeah, I think more or less that's the good percentage of public. Of course, since Corona times, some of the events are streamed, and of course that adds to the public. For example, our round table was seen more than 700 times, which is amazing. So, and also that tells us that people are lazy. They are ordering books online and they're seeing the events online. It is only understandable. That's why we are doing that too. So yeah, that would be it.
Thank you, Dejan. Благодарам, приятели.
Благодарам.
Gracias, amigo. František.
Thank you, my dear friend.
Yeah, that's pretty great to hear that we are from another part of the world and dealing with the same problems and excitement and fundings, and we are structuring the program kind of similarly and thinking similarly, and never heard of many of your projects and festival, but somehow we are doing the things like really in a similar way. So that's something about it, that everybody's trying to reach their own audience, everybody trying to do the best what we can, and probably we are reaching to the same kind of solutions. And it's also regarding the first maybe question, also regarding the funding. Of course, everybody is coming from different politics and background and stuff, but still in the same industry. And we are depending on the public funding, but this is how it's supposed to be. You know, when you are entering a philharmonic orchestra, and you can't pay for the philharmonic orchestra or for the symphony without the funding of a state, because you would pay 500 or 1,000 euro per concert. You know, that's the same with a festival huge as or huge maybe as Camila or Dejan. You can't do it without the funding. And we want our festival to be open, to be mostly free, to be inclusive for everybody, for most of the people. So of course we have some paid events, but it's usually some of concerts, but the rest of the program, the most of the programs is free or voluntarily. Yeah, so the funding, but we are trying. We depend on the it's something like it's another Ministry of Culture, which I recommend to another states. That a couple of years, 7 or 8 years ago, there was a like public institution. It was funded called Slovak Arts Council, which is kind of a bit independent from Ministry of Culture, or let's say it was, because it started to change. They need right now we are in the situation where they gained back their control, and it's not good. It's not good for nobody that if the Ministry of Culture has a direct control to the funding. I think because how it used to work is that the people from the field, you know, were deciding about the money, you know, the experts. But right now it's like more the more politics stepped in, you know. But so right now we are in the so we don't know what's gonna be for the next year. We've been funded from this Slovak Arts Council, but right now we don't know, because we can say that we are not in one line with the, let's say, new right-wing politics of our state. So, and we are not silent, and I don't think we could be silent if it's regarding to this intolerant and not non-democratic values. I think if we should exist, it should be based on the democratic and humanistic values, I think, and that's how we gonna continue, or how we gonna try to continue. But also last year we starting to kind of call for another support. Instead of public, we started to also reach some of the private companies, and we succeed in a it was like good start. I think there's still a lot of to do, but there's also like demographic or group of people who, or you know, are in the private field and maybe could share a bit of their wealth back to the society, and we are happy to help them, let's say. About excitement, right now we are living in a really exciting month, we can say. And in these days, it's funny also because the Ministry of Finance came with the idea of raising the VAT of a book from 10% to 23%, so it's 130% more, you know. And so the people actually really starting to this is like this backlash, like really huge backlash, I can say. So it looks like right now that many people are fighting back to and showing their because there was a quotation, and he said we it's funny, we need to raise this VAT of a book because we found out of our research just like nobody actually read and seen this research, that just wealthy people are reading books. That was a quotation of a Ministry of Culture. So the people right now they're taking pictures and putting them on social media with their libraries and saying, so we are these wealthy people, of course, we are these rich people. So there's a lot of excitement right now about the books, and many people are actually talking about the books because of this this idea of raising a VAT of a book. But funny on the side, I think we are trying to work with audience for many years. I'm happy to say that I'm not living with just with from this festival, but really I am working in a culture field for a whole year. But it means that you need to produce lots of events, festivals. Right now we have the festival in one week in another city in Slovakia. We're running the newspaper or magazine, cultural magazine. We are running the little cultural place in a city center of Bratislava. So like really doing a lot of stuff in a precarious conditions. Of course, we are like I guess like in most of the states in the world, but we like it, and really I'm happy to say that I'm working with the books most of the time of the year, and also organizing all sorts of competition, poetry competition, and all sorts of stuff, and also still looking for great partners. I hope that I will find it also within this group, which it happened with these like in previous times, I guess. So yeah, I think we will find a nice cooperation also here. But also our strategies is sometimes just to surprise people with literature. What we do, for example, we organized the concert of like kind of a popular band in Slovakia, and in the middle of concert there was a kind of a like poetry intervention. So the concert stopped. Sorry,
Patrick, your mic is open, Patrick. I'm sorry.
That is okay. It's okay. But Patrick maybe wanted to ask something. No. And so yeah, there was a like intervention. So sometimes people just don't know how they like poetry or books or literature, and we need to show them. Also, when you ask about the universities, we are working with them, of course, in a regular terms, you can say. Also having a lot of projects with them, with the students, but also with the teachers. Also doing discussions in the universities, but also call the students to our events. And when you ask about the collecting data, this is also things what we try to do after every festival. Just ask people what they think about how to improve it, because we are also changing venues quite often. So we need to ask also our publishers which attended. We need the feedback from them, and also from the audience. We are doing it with also sociologists, not just by ourselves, but we ask also professionals to do it for ourselves. Yes. So yes, I think that's it. Yeah, that's our strategy to improve our festival.
Thank you very much. And now we have just 10 last minutes, so I'm going to give first the word to Renée from Martinique, and later to Ibrahima, just to finish this conversation. Renée, please. You already talked us about the audience and your project. Maybe can you focus in the idea of what is the challenges in Martinique surrounding your festival? All yours, Renée.
Merci beaucoup.
Yes, thank you very much. I do see that we are facing a number of similar problems in the world, in our different organizations and companies. And we do progress through these difficulties. One of the hindrances that we had to face was the small size of our team. We had three people that are really fully implicated in the creation and the setting up of the festival. So like Camila was saying, it's hard because we do something else in our lives. We have another work. One of my comrades is responsible of a media center in Martinique, and another one is the head of an association that is the Stories Labs. So what they do is they try to share different kinds of stories in schools, and they try to resist uniformization of culture. So one of the big challenges we have is to make sure that we can have people who are really willing to help in the local communities, and people who really see what our festival and our endeavors are about. So, for instance, this year, we felt like we were working with relevant people, and from one day to the other, some people who had committed to work with us left. So, I mean, we had a beautiful festival anyways. We raised awareness on this, we tried to multiply the number of events, and to make sure that it did not happen again. But it was hard. It was hard to find these efficient people to help us in the local communities. So that's about it. I can now give the floor to others. That's about the challenges that we met recently. Also, I'd like to add that before giving the floor to my colleagues, something. So we had a partnership with the secondary school, and the young people from the secondary school drew the communication for the festival, which was really good because we worked with the local communities and we also communicated on the festival. So last year or 2 years ago, it was a young student doing a traineeship with me that was the one who illustrated the festival. So this is the kind of ways that we can work around some of the hindrances we're facing to really create a dynamic festival. Thank you very much.
Ibrahima, I'm sorry to leave you behind at the last. Último, pero no peor. Ibrahima, tú ya nos hablaste mucho del festival.
Ibrahima, you have already talked about the festival, of how it reaches different cities, not just in the city where it's hosted, which is wonderful. I would like to ask you what's the challenge of such a big festival that entails a lot of work in your region, in Mali and in the African region. What are the biggest challenges that you can see? Thank you.
Merci beaucoup. D'abord, je voudrais déjà proposer quelque chose, en fait. puisqu'en écoutant tout le monde, et ça c'était prévisible, nous voyons bien que nous
Thank you very
travaillons.
much. Today we can see that we are all evolving in different contexts with different stakeholders, but that we have common goals. And the idea of having an alliance is so crucial because we share the same goals, and it's very enriching to share our experience. And sometimes we don't have to, well, create something from a blank page. We can actually use each other's knowledge and experience. So it's just a word to say that I'm very open to collaborate with the Alliance on this question about knowledge and experience sharing. So the event Back to School, Back to Books in Mali, the rentrée littéraire, is in Mali is a national event supported by the Ministry of Culture, and it gained a lot of visibility in the African agenda. But we are still facing so many challenges so that this event gains more visibility. We have to remember in which context this event was created. It's in Africa, such type of event is not always easy to create because of sometimes the political context, and we are not always seen as something positive, and sometimes we are seen as actors of the opposition. So it's a real dilemma to penetrate this market with autonomous, independent, and free events. And very often it's interesting to attend to the events. And we feel that the government, one could think that the government brings a lot of money, but it's actually not true, and that's quite a shame, really. And we still need to give more power to the stakeholders of well, the publishing world, because there is a real need for public support. We organize an event where all encounters of shows or interviews are free. Everything's free for everyone. So it requires a lot of resources. And each year we add new events, and consequently we need increased resources. And money, of course, is always the sensitive issue, and it's really tricky to find new resources. And in Mali, we are also in a country where we are facing a difficult economic context. So it's quite hard to turn to new sponsors, and each year we receive support coming from national authorities, but I've said it's not enough. And we also have the support from partners and cooperations that exists in Mali. And we also receive some support from a few sponsors. So that's the type of the kind of supports that we try to mobilize to organize these events, but it's really not that easy because of the timelines. and we have a big issue of scheduling, because we don't know when we will receive the resources, and very often it has consequences on the programming. Nevertheless, I could say that today, well, our approach is quite fruitful, because the event has a true impact on the offer and the interest for books. We can see that people are increasingly interested in books, especially for our young audience, being the authors, the writers, or even the readers. So the interest is growing again, and that's quite encouraging for us. And well, more and more people are involved in this sector also. And well, generally speaking, we try to find support with well, technical and operational partners. And it also really helps us to understand what is the kind of audience that attends these events and who is interested in, well, this type of events. And we rely a lot on the data that we collect during these events to try to understand the needs of our audience. So that's what I wanted to say. And I believe that the issue of financing and funding is, well, the trickiest one. It needs a lot of reflection and experience sharing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Camila, Dejan, František, Ibrahima, Renée. Thank you to the public, and thank you to the Alliance team, and thank you to the interpreters who have been working with us these 2 days. I would like to thank them because as I am an organizer myself, I believe that we all learn from our mistakes, and we also learn from listening to other experiences from different colleagues, right? Ibrahima, I fully agree with your idea, with your proposal of trying to generate more exchanges among organizers. I am going to Paris in October to the coordinators of the Alliance meeting, and we are going to try and create synergies and collaborations among festivals. I believe that your point of view is very interesting, and that it will be key for us to share experiences, ways of funding, and getting resources. And I promise you that I will bring these ideas to the Paris meeting. Thank you again, everybody. I would like to recommend this book to you because it is a book from a poet, an organizer. He's Nenad Saponja. He comes from Serbia, and this is a travel guide. It is a very fun book. Thank you to the audience. Thank you to all of you. I invite you to keep connected. We will have now